I think it's very obvious that the upcoming JoJo mobile gacha game will do a really good job representing a lot of the popular stands and characters in the series, such as JoJo Star Platinum or Dio's The World. However, there's a lot of underrated stands and abilities out there that I really want to see implemented into this game, and that's exactly what this video is going to be about. My top 10 stands that I want to see in the upcoming JoJo mobile gacha game. Most of them are underrated, some of them are pretty popular, as you guys will eventually see. But I want you guys right now to go down in the description, in the comment section, and let me know what stands you are looking forward to the most in terms of just playing with or seeing in the game, whatever the case may be. And while you're down there, guys, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. We are on the road to 6K. Only you guys can make it possible. Let's hop into the first stand that I want to see in this game, and that's going to be Lovers from Dan, part 3 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I only have up to part 7 in this video. I haven't even read part 8. I haven't even read part 7 either, let's be honest, but you know, it is what it is. Anyways, Lovers is the first stand I really want to see. Actually, one of my favorite stands, and the reason why I want to see this stand so much is because of its ability to make, you know, the user and the enemy feel the pain that they use. Pain synchronization is basically what I'm trying to say, right? So imagine you end up pulling Steely Dan, right? And the Lover's ability is activated. Whenever the enemy hits you, the enemy should theoretically take that damage as well, right? And I think that's going to be a very interesting ability that this game could implement. I could imagine going into a specific fight. Let's say there's an event in this game where the enemy super attacks you like turn 1 and it does a lot of damage. If you bring in Steely Dan, when they do that damage to you, it could be, I guess we could say that they should also receive that same amount of damage, right? Which would be extremely OP, depending on obviously how the ability works. But if that were to be a thing, this guy would be meta, right? Depending on how it works. Steely Dan could definitely be one of the better units in this game, simply because of that ability for the enemy to take the same amount of damage that they're actually dealing to you, or maybe a percentage of it, or something like that. But again, like as we saw in part 3, he did it to Jotaro, he did it to Joseph, and they were taking a lot of damage. So, and it actually looked like the pain was amplified. Like, Dan would take a specific amount of damage, as you guys can see here, but Jotaro or Joseph would take a little bit more. It just seemed a little bit more exaggerated on their side, so we could see something where Steely Dan is hit with a specific amount of damage, and it's actually amplified a specific multiplier when it comes to the enemy. So let me know what you guys think about that. I think Lovers would be a very interesting, again, stand just because of that ability alone. The next stand I actually have here is Justice from Enya the Hag. Now, the reason, there's 2 abilities that this stand has that I think could be very interesting when it comes, you know, to the game. Of course, it's also part 3 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and we have the Fog string puppetry, sorry. Similar, if you guys have watched One Piece, similar to how Doflamingo's, you know, Devil Fruit works. Imagine, and you see it literally right here with Whole Horse basically shooting himself, right? This could be a thing where Enya the Hag could, you know, activate this ability for 1 turn or something, and the enemy, the attack that the enemy is going to do to you, they end up doing to themselves for 1 turn, right? I think that'd be really, really cool. And also the illusions effect. This I think is really, really cool. Now, in part 3, she actually made the illusion of a graveyard, but I think theoretically she'd be able to make an illusion of another person, right? I don't remember if that's exactly what happened or if that ever happened. I haven't watched part 3 in quite some time, but imagine, you know, let's say you have Jotaro and you have Avdol in the field, in the battlefield, right? What it, oh no, you'd have to have Enya there, obviously. So, or maybe Enya was a support character. I don't really know how this game is going to work just yet. But what if Enya was able to make illusions of the characters, right, that you had on your field? Let's say 4 to 5 illusions, right? Similar to like how one of the, I've never watched Naruto, but you know how Naruto could have the shadow clone jutsu thing? I think you have like multiple clones of yourself, and then the enemy gets confused. Maybe the enemy doesn't attack for 1 turn. Maybe the enemy attacks the wrong one, allowing you basically to evade a specific attack for that turn or 2 turns, whatever, however long the ability would last. I think that would be really, really cool. So let me know what you guys think about this stand. Even though Enya the Hag is not the most popular character in JoJo, I do think her stand would have a lot of interesting impact and effect into the game. Now let's move on from part 3 and enter part 4. Now, part 4, obviously, we're gonna have things like Josuke stand, and probably the hand from Okuyasu. But I think Cinderella, okay, is going to be a very interesting stand as well. Now, again, when it comes to Cinderella, it's going to be, it would have to depend strictly on how the gameplay works. And what do I mean by that? Okay, so let's say you're fighting a Dio, right? Well, really quick, let me just explain her ability. She's literally able to, I mean, I guess it's safe to say that she can basically remodel humans and make them look differently. So what if, right, in this game, let's say you're facing a Dio, right? And the Dio that you're facing, the enemy, does extra damage to a Jotaro unit, but you have to bring a Jotaro or something like that, right? Then this Cinderella unit could make that Jotaro appear as someone else, and then when Dio attacks you, right, then you don't take that extra damage that Dio would have done to you if you were indeed Jotaro. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Basically, this Cinderella support unit could save you from a little bit of extra damage that the enemy would be doing to you. Which again, I honestly, I think that would be a very interesting. It had to be very specific. Like, there would have to be a specific use for a stand like this. But I do think that could be interesting. Let me know what you guys think about this one. Again, I wouldn't say it's the best one, best of my ideas, but I do think Cinderella definitely deserves love in the game. I don't think, I never see Cinderella talked about at all. So let me know what you guys think. Another part 4 stand I really want to see is Boy to Man, and I think this is actually going to be a very interesting thing. So Boy to Man is basically a stand that steals the energy. So basically, there's this kid, right? What's this guy's name? Ken. Okay. So Ken, he plays rock paper scissors. Whenever they lose, whenever the person he's playing with loses, his stand takes a little bit of energy, right, from the other person. So I think Ken would work very interesting. Like, Ken and his stand, of course, would be a very interesting character. Imagine you end up pulling Ken off a new banner or something. You hop into a new event, and the first thing Ken does is play rock paper scissors with an enemy or one of the enemies, right? Now, let's say you have a specific chance of winning or you have a specific chance of losing, right? If Ken actually wins, okay, then the enemy's health and damage and attack are all reduced by a certain percentage. And obviously, the more dupes maybe you have in this Ken unit or the more copies you pull, the stronger that ability is actually going to be, right? Sorry, so let me know what you guys think about that. I'm actually having hiccups right now, my bad. But let me know what you guys actually think about that. I think Ken and this rock paper scissors ability is going to be a very, very, very interesting thing. It would actually be very annoying. Like, imagine you actually facing a Ken unit, and let's say Ken is the boss for whatever reason. If he ends up winning, right? Let's say you hop into the event, he plays rock paper scissors with you, and he wins. Then all of your allies or all of your units, attack and defense, or maybe a specific unit, attack and defense, or maybe he targets your strongest unit, right? Their attack and defense and HP are just lowered by a specific amount, making them just hit, obviously defend a lot worse. They're not going to hit as hard. They're going to die a lot quicker. So let me know what you guys think. I think that's going to also be a very interesting, stand in this game. The next stand I actually have here is also a stand from, what's it called? Part 5. And that is for Maggio's stand of Little Feet. Now, Little Feet actually is going to work very similar to the next stand I have pulled up here. And basically, Little Feet's ability is to make, and you guys saw this with his fight with Narancia, basically make someone extremely small, right? They shrink in size. Now, the way I see this stand actually working in the game is if the enemy gets hit with this stand's ability, then every turn, or let's say it's like a turn-based RPG or something like that, right? Every turn that passes, the enemy legitimately shrinks, and so does, figuratively, of course, their attack and defense, right? So let's say you're facing Dio, right? And Dio's attack is 1,000 and Dio's defense is 10,000. After the next turn, goes by, he shrinks a little bit, his attack, becomes 800, and his defense becomes 8,000, right? So he legitimately gets weaker as the turns go by, and maybe that effect lasts for a certain amount of turns, allowing your unit to just do a lot of damage, a lot more, defend a lot better, all of that good stuff, right? This guy could be very interesting support unit, in my opinion. But again, I do think for Maggio and the Little Feet definitely deserve a lot of love, because even though it's not the most hype stand, it could be very powerful if the game mechanics actually allow for that. And again, it's going to be the same thing when it comes to the Grateful Dead. This is let me see, I have 1, 2, 3. This is the 6th stand. I have 4 more stands after this. So the Grateful Dead, as you guys saw in part 5 when this fight with what's his face, Bucciarati. So prosciutto stand, again called the Grateful Dead, legitimately allows or makes the enemy age a lot faster. So this could still work the same way as Little Feet, where you hit the enemy, they grow, they become a lot older, and since they become older, they should theoretically become weaker, right? So you hit the enemy, they get, imagine imagine you actually have prosciutto and formaggio on the same team, right? And the enemy is getting smaller and older at the same time. So their attack and defense are going to be reduced literally in double time. Like you're just going to be, it's literally over, right? Prosciutto and formaggio could be like the dynamic duo of this game. Again, it really depends on how this works, but obviously their attack and defense would be lowered. Their HP maximum would probably be reduced. Let me know what you guys think about this one. I think this could be a very interesting you know, stand in terms of how it actually you know, plays. But again, let me know what you guys think. The next one I actually have could be good, okay? Could actually be very powerful when it comes to a unit you have, but I see it as a boss, something that, like a very difficult boss that you would actually face, and that is obviously going to be, what's it called? A Chariot Requiem here. Now, the reason why Chariot Requiem would work as a very good boss, I mean, you could obviously pull Chariot. I think he'd be a really good unit for you to have as well. But the reason why I see him as a boss is because of his abilities. Now, the soul manipulation ability that he has that we saw in part 5. Imagine you're facing this boss, right? And he does that to all of your units, making them confused for one turn. And if Bruce, you know, Giorno switch bodies with Narancia, they're gonna be very confused. They're not gonna be able to attack, right? Maybe they don't understand how each other stand. They just don't understand how everything works. So this enemy could literally confuse you, with that ability for one turn, literally not allowing you to attack at all. So that would be very, very interesting to see. But another really interesting thing here would be the regeneration. Now, when it comes to regeneration, okay, this is probably one of the most annoying things about any enemy in any game ever. It's when you're doing a lot of damage, and you guys, if you guys play Dokkan, you probably know about this when it comes to Battlefield. Battlefield always has one enemy that heals up so much. So you can do like so much damage and then they literally just heal up. Now Chariot Requiem, as you guys saw in the anime, is literally able to just piece together his arm. He takes damage, of course, but he's literally just able to replenish anything anything he loses, which is very, very, very annoying. So I could actually see this enemy in the game. You know, let's say you do a lot of damage with Dio. This man could recover maybe 90% of that damage, 80% of that damage, making him a very annoying enemy to fight. And honestly, this stand manipulation, which I completely forgot about, could actually be a very interesting thing. Now, as you guys see, this is Diavolo here, but this isn't really Diavolo. This is Bucciarati, and we end up seeing that through Bucciarati's own, you know, body, his own stand was able to stop him or basically attack him. So what if Giorno, you're facing a Giorno unit, you're fighting up against you know, Chariot Requiem, and Golden Experience actually turns on you and attacks you, right? Like, again, this is a very, very, very annoying person or a very annoying stand to actually fight, which is why I think it works amazing as a boss and a little bit less as a unit you would actually pull. But I still want to see Chariot Requiem in the game, and obviously Chariot Requiem is a lot more known than some of the other stands that I've already mentioned in this video. Now, the last few stands are going to be ones that you guys probably know more of, and that's the next one is going to be White Snake. Now, White Snake, I think there's only two. Yeah, there's only two more stands after this one. So, White Snake. White Snake, I think, could be a very, very powerful unit for you guys to have. His ability to extract the memory and the stand of any enemy you're fighting could cause confusion, and it could weaken the unit, right? Because let's say you're fighting a Jonathan, then obviously Jonathan doesn't have a stand, right? Well, if you believe Jonathan is Star Platinum, then maybe Jonathan is a stand. I don't know. Anyways, so let's say you're fighting Jonathan, right? Or let's say you're fighting George Joestar for whatever the reason is. Obviously, he doesn't have his stand, so you would wipe his memory. He would be confused for one turn, right? Then he's unable to attack, right? This White Snake, besides his attack stats and defensive stats, applies confusion to the enemy. But if the enemy actually does have a stand, then if you were able to wipe out, let's say you were able to wipe the world off of Dio immediately just becomes a lot weaker. So let's say Dio, the boss enemy Dio, has 1 million health and 1 million attack and 1 million defense, whatever the case may be. White Snake does his thing where he takes away both memory and the stand disc. Not only is Dio going to be confused for one turn, but let's say his stats are like halved, right? Because obviously Dio without the world is a lot weaker than just Dio. So I think White Snake may not be the strongest unit in the game, but being able to remove the stand, being able to remove the stand of someone could make any fight in this game so much easier. Because I personally, and we're gonna see in this literally the next one, right? I'll show you guys right now. So White Snake, let me know what you guys think about this. D4C. Imagine you're fighting D4C, right? Just imagine you're fighting Funny Valentine D4C. If this technically, right? I have not read Part 7. I'm not too familiar with D4C. I do know that he's able to just to make copies of himself through alternate dimensions. I'm again not too familiar with how that's like the limits of that, or if there is a limit. But to my understanding, or just to my very limited understanding, this stand makes you immortal, because if you die, he can just pull you out from a parallel world or whatever the case may be, right? So like you can have like an infinite amount of Funny Valentines. Again, I don't know how the stand's limits or anything like that, but imagine you're fighting this in the game, right? Imagine you're fighting Funny Valentine and D4C. What's going to end up happening is you defeat the enemy and another one pops out, right? This could be like a very good survival mode thing, right? But every time, dude, if in a survival mode, if you fight Funny Valentine, every time he comes up, he gets a little bit stronger. That would actually be pretty cool. But anyways, let's say you're fighting him. If you have White Snake and you're able to wipe off Funny Valentine's stand, he can't regenerate. Once he dies, he dies, right? This is the power of a White Snake in the game. But anyways, D4C, obviously his ability. Let me actually just read it real quick. Dimensional travel allows different parallel world dimensions to coexist at the same time. Same place. It allows the user to visit these parallel worlds dimensions and interact with them. Can pull items in other dimensions, forcing them. So yeah, he is. It looks like dimensional. What's the word? Manipulation, right? So I guess, dude, that actually be very. Honestly, again, I'm not too familiar with how this works, but I think I've seen images and stuff where D4C has pulled himself out of other worlds into the main world in which he had probably already died. So this would be a really interesting stand for you to have, because let's say you're defeated by the enemy. It's like psych. D4C says psych, pulls out another Funny Valentine, and maybe there's a limit to this, right? Let's say if you pulled a D4C or Funny Valentine, the limit is 1 or 2, or maybe I think 2 is actually a lot. But let's say you have D4C, his stats are not necessarily the greatest, maybe they're like mid stats, but you do get defeated really quickly, and then D4C pulls out another copy of you that's going to be a lot stronger. Similar to like the Red Cell in Dragon Ball Legends, where he has like a revival ability, where he's pretty weak, defensively, before he gets killed, and then after he gets his revival off, he's actually a little bit stronger than when he was before. So let me know what you guys think about that. Now the last stand I have here, which is also from Part 7, which I think would be really, really cool, is Hey Ya, which is actually Poco Loco stand. Now, again, I didn't read this part. I never actually seen this guy in motion in terms of actually reading him. But I do know that Poco Loco is legitimately, right, just like an legitimately just a supporting stand, right? One that motivates you to do something. And then apparently Poco Loco was able to achieve some very interesting things through just coincidence, right? So what if Poco Loco, or let's say you pull the Poco Loco in the game, let's say you have Hey Ya as a stand, whatever the case may be, what could end up really happening is, let's say you're fighting a specific enemy, and you're not the strongest, this stand could literally pop out, encourage you to, do better or something, and then let's say you heal up a little bit. Let's say all your enemies heal up a little bit, right? Because let's say I think he's just talking to Poco Loco, so it wouldn't be all allies here. Not all enemies, sorry. All allies heal up, but what if, you know, you pull Poco Loco, he comes out again and he heals up a little bit of your HP, right? He allows you to hit a little bit harder or increases your defensive stat, or maybe it's random. Let's say during any given fight he can increase your attack by 100% or your defense by 100% or your HP regeneration, whatever the case may be, right? This could, or maybe he's someone who is activated every single turn, allowing you slowly, like, regenerating you, pushing you along, maybe slowly increasing your attack, your defense to the, let's say he could be a stacking unit, all right? And again, I'm saying stacking based off of Dokkan. If you guys have played Dokkan, you guys know there's specific units that actually stack, like, their attack and defense. Every time they attack, they legitimately get stronger, and that stays that way until the event is over. That could be this guy. The constant encouragement could make this guy stronger over time, which could be good for longer events in this game. So those are my 10 stands. Let me know what you guys think. I want your honest opinions about the stands that I've picked. I want your guys' honest opinions about which stands you guys would like to see in this game. If you guys enjoyed today's video, hit the like button, subscribe if you are new, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.